And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Straight in, no pauses, down to business. Skill or luck versus Super Hot Crew XD. Heading straight down the mid lane towards each other off the bat. It does look like Super Hot Crew may just manage to sneak into this bush without being spotted. No, there we go. Now they've been seen. Moopz just a little bit slower than Caitlyn, Renekton, and Jarvan. But it does mean they can get into this red side of the jungle and plant some early wards.
Yeah, the Super Hot Crew did see a lot of members of Skill or Luck, so they know that they're safe to go forward like that. And as that ward had such a short time span,
was that a 60 second? There was. That was a 60-second ward, so it's not a big loss for Skill or Luck. Torn goes, actually lands on two people. Svenskeren and Migxa gets flared up afterwards. Migxa going very, very low. Xerath Q comes out, but no deaths as neither team wanted to chase that any deeper. But importantly, were any summoners burned? Nothing. So literally all that happened was Shen leveled up Torn at level 1, which isn't so bad as a top lane Shen, and they both lost a lot of health. So that could have been a whole lot worse, and ultimately was a lot of action for a lot of nothing.
This does give a chance for Skill or Luck to move forward and place wards down in the enemy jungle, but they've decided against that, so really nothing has happened. Compared to last game where we saw a lot of vision on both sides of the map early on in the opposing jungles, this time it's all around mid lane. It's very, very defensive, I think, because both teams feel they didn't have the time to actually go forward and put down those wards.
Yeah. Fairly eventful, but ultimately anticlimactic start. So 155, the junglers are back in. We do not see a lane swap coming out of Skill or Luck. So we're going to see Graves Zyra against Sona Caitlyn. So Sona, of course, going to have to be very, very careful not to get snared. That blow up, the explosive potential of that Graves, and then the Ignite Zyra is there waiting for her. But, of course, Caitlyn's then going to be piling on the pressure onto Graves from range. So we'll see exactly how this all shapes up as they are already at each other's throats, landing a fair bit of damage.
This is going to be a game where, even though Graves is not a great match versus Caitlyn, it just takes one binding, one grasping roots from Zyra to completely turn around that lane and just snowball Graves early. However, you know, it's up to Migxa to make a mistake. If Sona does not get caught out, it is not a bad lane. It is a fantastic lane, and it will just be free farm and free pressure for Foton onto Collide.
I'm really interested to see exactly how this mid lane matchup is going to work. You mentioned before how interesting and rare it is to see a Xerath, but even rarer, I don't think, when I have seen him, I don't think I've seen him against a Lissadra. So what are we looking for there, and how should that go down?
Well, Lissadra in this case is the replacement pick for all the other mid laners that got banned out that were more mobile. Even though Glacial Path is awesome, it's not necessarily as instant and bursty. So Magebane, he's going to look early on to just get CS, and Moopz will try and pressure with his Q, trying to go through the creep line. He actually is in danger now, but does have that Glacial Path for defensive escape.
Yeah, so we do see Elise coming in. Oh, Graves dashing in onto Sona. Ends up actually coming out behind on the trade anyway, because that power chord is very, very strong in these early rounds, and Graves is on the back foot. Jarvan's heading towards that mid lane, but he's walking across some earlier placed wards, so nothing's going to happen towards Xerath in that situation. And ultimately, junglers are back to farming, and bottom lane, Graves is just waiting for these creeps to head in his direction so he can CS under tower.
He's down by 11 CS. That is huge at this point in the game, and that is just the weakness of Graves. Caitlyn and Sona will be backing up. It looks like just to stay safe, just because they do not have the best vision on Elise. Now they finally got some, they're moving forward, looking for some more pressure once more. That is going to be the bane of Skill or Luck right now, if they cannot get Collide farm, and at this rate, it doesn't look like he's going to get all that much.
Little love taps going backwards and forwards in the top lane. Renekton to Shen, coming out very, very even on either side there. You now see Jarvan heading up into the Skill or Luck jungle once more, as the wars have started to run out now. Those placed at level 1. And obviously that 3-minute timer is starting to tick away. So he's looking to see what he can make happen onto this Xerath mid. But Elise has spotted him and is getting some free damage down as he was not paying quite enough attention.
There was a brief moment and a ping as Jarvan really just didn't seem to see her. At the same time, though, this pressures Xerath. If Jarvan hangs out in the mid lane, actually Migxa going forward just for the harass, taking down Zyra below half HP. This is a problem. One good poke, and all of a sudden both Zyra and Graves have to play super far back and play defensively. And as you can see, you know, Sona's now getting auto attacks in. Caitlyn's getting auto attacks in. Graves is just being punished for being Graves at this point. As that CS lead, that's a 16 CS lead, and they're recalling. That is, they're going to double up on CS if they let that recall finish, which they've already interrupted.
So still approaching 5 minutes, and the goal lead is in Super Hot Crew XD's favor, despite it only being CS now. And as you just mentioned, a lot of that is in that bottom lane. Caitlyn is so far ahead of Graves right now. I mean, Graves' strength, he's an AD caster more than auto attacker, am I right? So you're just looking to get strong, you're looking to get those big items, and one pop, more or less, blow up your target. Once you start falling behind, you're not going to be able to do that on Graves, and then he's going to start to struggle.
He needs to have enough AD to, possibly blow someone up, like Moopz, like Foton or Migxa. The thing is, because of his low range and because of the long range of the backline for Super Hot Crew, it's going to be hard for him to attack a relevant target, and both Freddy and Sven will be so tanky that they're not going to be in any danger right now from Graves. Graves might have to buy a Brutalizer this game, just to be
you
relevant.
missed the XD, Studio. It's
I'm sorry.
XD.
Super Hot Crew XD.
Their name. We do not want them getting confused with any other Super Hot Crew.
There are many Super Hot Crews on the EU scene, so it's justifiable.
Exactly. So that is there for a reason. It's a notifying or identifying mark. Sorry, shall we say? Did you see Elise coming down in the bottom lane? She is having to help Graves out a little way while Zyra backed off, so he wasn't 2v1 on the tower. But again, more little love taps again up in the top lane, just backwards and forwards. Ultimately, that's going to be a fairly comfortable farm for both of them for quite some time yet, as Shen still hasn't actually hit 6 yet. And when he does, I'd like to see something happen using his ultimate, perhaps Elise in the bottom lane, maybe with a crazy lane gank or something like that.
An Elise Repel with Shen ultimate would be a huge savior for a collide in the bot lane. At the same time, if Sona's playing defensively, it's going to be hard to actually land anything in terms of a CC. And if Caitlyn is one far forward, she has a 90 caliber net to just get out of any danger. So they're really, I think, going to try and use that on Xerath mid lane. Because even though Graves is falling behind, Xerath is that wildcard caster. If he gets off the ground, he can win 100% almost any squishy character in the game. Most likely that will include Caitlyn, and Sona for sure will definitely just go down in one combo.
Yeah, and say Caitlyn has that bonus of being long range, being right at the back, being out of the way of these fights, but Xerath can go over the top of everyone and catch her out, so she's not as safe as she may be against some other APs, so to speak. We do have, see, Jarvan and Lissadra making an invade here in for the enemy blue buff. Kubaos gets knocked up in that ultimate. Flash away from Moopz as the repel comes out. Renekton trying to come in, fails his slice, so has to flash over the wall. Ult comes out from Shen onto Kubaos. Flash forward from Xerath, tries to pick up the first blood, fails. Sorry, succeeds. He does go down one way. One trade for one. Lissadra for Xerath, and then ultimately skill or luck has to back away. I completely lost myself in the middle of all of that. But it's a 1-for-1 trade. The first blood went to Moopz, so Lissadra picked it up, and more importantly, the blue buff is still taken away by Super Hot Crew. So that's what they went in there for. That was the objective, and Super Hot Crew XD came out on top.
I can understand getting confused by that, because actually flash initiation in the bot lane, they're going for Daisuke.
Sona goes down, but a nice snare from Zyra will stop her with the follow-up, and a quick flash away keeps her out of the range of the rest of Caitlyn's damage. But again, it means they're going to have to go back to the golems, means they're going to have to tank that up and drink potions for a while, so they're going to miss out on a little bit more experience. And if this keeps going, this skill or luck bottom lane is going to need a lot of luck to stay in this game.
They do have Kubaos in the bot lane looking for something. The grasping roots do not land though. Should be an easy disengage for Super Hot Crew. That was actually a mistake on their part. Sona ulted Zyra, and then Foton immediately used a Piltover Peacemaker onto Collide at the same time. So they split their damage, and as a result, Daisuke was going to survive with that flash before they had a chance of chasing him down and using the Caitlyn flash to try and auto-attack Daisuke to death. Dragon though being taken, this should be relatively easy. Elise could go for a steal, but there's just no backup.
Ooh, nice try. That
close.
plant and ultimate combo from Graves and Zyra. It was very close, but Svenskeren got his smite off. Very experienced, managed to finish that off and bring it to the Super Hot Crew XD. Again, then, they are controlling the pace of this game. They made that blue invade. They got that first blood. They started that fight. They initiated it with Moopz ult, and they made that dragon play. They forced skill or luck to react and to come to them for that fight. And as it is, they picked themselves up a Drake for it. Stretching their goal lead out to 2,000 now. Significantly less kills at this point in the game than we saw previously. But Super Hot Crew, slow and steady, are extending their advantage.
The advantage for SUPA crew has been laning advantages, and not necessarily kills. You don't need to kill your opposition to win lane, but if you look up bot lane, it's that massive CS advantage. Mid lane, it's kind of that same deal as Magebane has actually picked up a Soul Stealer. Now, this might be the basis for the Xerath pick. It's an all-in, it's a risky pick, it's their gambit. It's actually a route onto Migxa. They're going for this full combo.
We do see a knock-up onto both members of the SUPA crew bot lane. Zyra has to back away, but Elise is now coming in. Caitlyn uses a nicely calibrated. They're going to focus onto Sona. Elise comes down. The stun misses. Graves is still chasing. He's had to use his flash forward, but they do pick up the kill. Goes to Elise, though not ideal. Collide does use his barrier against that Caitlyn ultimate. Don't think he would have killed him anyway, but I suppose he wanted to save the health and would rather have that over the shield. So they're just going to push that lane in.
It wouldn't have killed him, but then Elise also took the bullet anyways. So, kind of a
miscommunication across the board then.
Like, he burned the summoner, and then Elise tanked the damage, so there was no reason to use that barrier. I guess they want to save the HP just to go push forward in case Jarvan had run bot lane. So that way, Graves could still get some damage onto the turret. Still, that was actually a very, very sloppy engage. The missed Elise stun, the flash forward from Graves the last second. Everything did not go as well as they wanted to. I think actually Magebane being initiated on the mid lane.
Yeah, Moopz flashes forward, lands his ultimate, and then Jarvan comes out of nowhere. The Shen ult's there. Is it enough? No, it's not. Svenskeren gets stunned, but he's not in turret range. And the Shen ultimate will obviously not complete as Xerath is dead. Renekton all that while is stealing away the wolf camp and is now coming around possibly behind the turret. There is a ping onto Elise. I think it's more to just say she's here than anything else. And they do pick themselves up another quick kill. So 2 for 2 as Xerath has got himself a Migxa. He had that for a while now. In fact, I think since the first blood kill, he bought it on his very first death. So, I mean,
that's
not a bit optimistic.
That is not how you want to go into a Migxa's pickup. You buy it on your first death. Also, it's gonna be last, but I can understand in the sense that he should be safe. You know, in the back line, he will never get focused down in team fights. This isn't team fights yet, though, and they don't necessarily have to team fight over on SUPA crew XD. They can go for team fights, but at this point, why not just kill your lanes over and over? Why not, you know, win bot lane through CS, win mid lane through Lissadra Jarvan ganks? So eventually, that's a good pickup if they do get into team fights and if he already has enough base damage to be a threat. Right now, though, that's an incredible risk, and like you said, that's just optimism. I think there are a lot of nerves right now for skill or luck, just based off their play. They've been very iffy on a lot of things that are normally easy.
If I was a mid laner that just died and I was nervous, my mind would not go to a Migxa. I would go to something a lot safer. So honestly, I wouldn't say it's nerves. I would say it's more of a still confident and perhaps overconfident that they can still turn this around. The fact that he went with that.
Well, it's also saying, like, I want to carry this game. I need to carry this game. What's the most carry of carrying item? That Migxa Soul Stealer. So, like, there's a lot going on. But like, the Shen ultimate, for example, when it was used on Xerath, it was used very late. So there was no chance I was going to make actually being initiated on in the mid lane one more time. He's not killed. He's taken down low, though, which means Shen is being pressured now by both Freddy and Jarvan up in that top jungle, and that blue buff will not be going to Xerath one more time.
Well, there's the thing. Renekton was proxy farming right past that turret for a while there because he knew Jarvan was coming. Jarvan had been in stealing that blue buff away the entire time, so all Moopz was doing there wasn't even so much to try and kill Magebane's Xerath, was just unloading his full combo on him, taking him down as low as possible so he can go in and stop the invade. As it is, Sona comes out in the bottom lane, Collide going very, very low, has been ignited. Caitlyn flashes over the Zyra to try and stay in range. The ult's going to come out. Can it be blocked? It will be by Zyra. Nice try, but no cigar this time around. Does, however, force Collide back and out of lane, and it may just be first turret of the game going to SUPA crew.
A great play, not necessarily because they got a kill or they got close, but because what was going to be the benefit? If they did get like an initiation off Emmett, they could immediately take the turret. They knew where Elise was, they knew Xerath was back at base, and they knew that Shen did not quite have his ultimate up yet. It's going to be up in the next few seconds. So that was a brief moment where it was completely safe for them to move forward incredibly aggressively, and now they take down the objective. Now they can try and rotate the disadvantage mid, get more objectives, and be ready for Dragon, which will be respawning in about 35 seconds.
So, we'll see. We've seen, of course, SUPA crew really taking the initiative and leading the plays for that so far. They are still ahead. They're still very much in control. And as we've seen from their blue invades, they are not afraid to take the fight to skill or luck. What do they do around this next dragon? It's only 3,000 gold. Super Hot Crew, yes, they're in a strong position. Yes, Moopz can do a lot of damage right now. But that's not too bad of a mid-game team coming out of skill or luck. And Shen has now hit 11, so his ultimate and his shield is going to be that little bit stronger. So I'd like to see them perhaps attempt to gank or try some other power play rather than just diving straight in for the Drake this time around. Get that little advantage, get that little lead up, and then go for it.
They're probably going to go for Xerath one more time. Just try and focus on Magebane. Lissadra is just so good at killing him, even through a Shen ultimate. And it looks like they might just try and force Dragon anyways, though, because they are more powerful, and Xerath at the moment, he just doesn't have anything. He's got a Blasting Wand and a Migxa and some Doran's Ring. That is not nearly enough compared to a Deathfire Grasp.
There's the Drake goes down. Actually goes to Zyra, so a nice steal from skill or luck. Gonna get Elise repel up. She goes on to Sona, makes her horribly exposed. Oh, misses, a stun misses through everyone. Jarvan EQs to try and get her, but she nicely crashes back over the wall. Freddy's still chasing. Shen, Taunt goes on to him. Collide's going there. Flash forward from Moopz. He's gone on to Magebane, horribly exposed Xerath, and down he goes. Freddy 122 still tanking up 4 members. There's the Jarvan Cataclysm. There falls down one more target. Elise will drop. Svenskeren picks up the 3rd kill of the fight. Foton fires the ult off, not quite enough damage to finish off the kill, but they're still chasing up this lane, and they may get themselves a tier 2 turret if they continue.
They want something. They are out for blood, having lost that dragon pickup to a Zyra. That is almost unheard of because of her low damage when she is played in the support role. So they're just going to rotate now. Collide actually in a lot of danger. The Jarvan combo will land.
Will, the knockup's there. There's the Sona roll. Moopz comes forward. Collide, barriers, and drops. There we go. Kill goes to Moopz. He was waiting until the very last moment to make sure he could get exactly that kill. And there it is. Tier 2 turret will fall in this bottom lane. And that is a horrible position to be in if you are skill or luck.
Realize that this could have actually been a bigger difference in gold because that dragon was stolen. So the issue they had is that, alright, they got the dragon pickup, they had a retreat, but on the retreat, Xerath tried to fight, which set up the easy Lissadra kill onto him. Lissadra flashed to get into range, and just the DFG combination. She just purchased a large rod, but just with the DFG and the Doran's Rings she had, almost bursted him down with just her initial combo. It took an ignite and an auto attack to finish him off afterwards. And then after losing their AP mid like that, they had no chance whatsoever. As Freddy is being caught out in the top lane though.
He is, takes that stun in his face as he goes to the wall, but the slice and dice will allow him down into the river and out to safety. It's the first stun I've seen Elise land in for quite a while, actually. Last couple of engagements she's been involved in, it is whiffed straight through the gap, field goal style, including that very last one down by Drake. So need to line their skill shots up a little bit better. Kubaos.
I don't know how he missed that one. Like, that was just bad luck. He wasn't trying to stun anybody in particular. He was just trying to get the stun out, and somehow it just completely parted SUPA Hot Crew XD. Like, that was an impressive stun to miss, and just some unfortunate luck. They didn't get the skill part down, they didn't get the luck part down. I mean, it's in their team name.
Freddy 122 popped his ultimate and is just doing what damage he can to Shen here under turret. Not going to have to kill him 1v1, but look at where Sona and Jarvan are. Closing in, Ward goes over the wall, they see Shen on the run and leaving. He realizes that was happening, realized there was no control over the top half of that jungle for his team, and does back away, sacrificing the top tier 1 turret. So 3 turrets to 0 then in favor of Super Hot Crew XD, and they are still waiting to get this middle tier 1.
They are close to a death cap on Xerath. Xerath is just the guy to watch for items because even if he's falling behind, even if he has that Migxa, he can still deal a lot of DPS with very few items. They're going to try and catch out Freddy. The auto attack doesn't interrupt the recall. Got hit in the last 0.5 seconds of the recall animation, which does not actually stop a recall, unfortunately.
Indeed, it's that last little crossover second, but it's okay. He got done and out. And again, another blue buff goes on to Svenskeren. Level 11 jungle buff is 10 because there's literally just been no blue buff kills for skill or luck. Every single one, bar that first one, has gone the way of Super Hot Crew XD's Svenskeren. So nice buff control by him, nice objective control. And of course he's doing the same thing with dragons when he can actually land his smites.
Ooh. That is a huge now onto Xerath. Xerath doesn't necessarily need that much mana for his combo, but if you want to play him as a poke-oriented champion, if you want to actually spam spells onto him, you need to have that blue buff, because if not, you will go out of mana trying to play any sort of siege game, especially with the build Magebane has adapted, which leaves very little regeneration outside of killing creep waves.
So Freddy again being annoying up past that tower, hiding in the bush, just waiting They know he can dash straight over the wall if he wants to, so he's very safe there. They're not going to commit too deep. Foton dodging away, takes a lot of damage. Flash forward, stun comes out from Sona. Magebane's got the ignite tick in. Shen comes out just in time. Shen's going to be stunned up though, so he's going to have to come and join the fight, but the shield was all that was needed. Magebane stays alive, but is that what Super Hot Crew XD needed to take this tier 1 turret in the mid lane?
We need to pick up, actually, Moopz moving forward, not able to secure a kill though. And yeah, Shen ultimate being used just for the ignite ticks is a huge deal. They're not going to accomplish a lot, as actually Viz being caught up by Renekton in that side jungle. Freddy can actually duel him fairly well just because Shen built the early Sunfire Cape, and the armor is very strong versus Renekton, while Shen has a bit more mixed damage with his auto attacks and his Warple Blades. But despite that...
Here's the thing though, in the last game, we saw both Shen and Renekton, after their lane swap, they went back to the top lane, 1v1 against each other, and they both had identical items. It was just a chain vest and a giant spell. It quickly became Sunfire Capes afterwards. But in that situation, Shen was winning out those trades, and Shen was coming out on top time and time again. However, now, Freddy, with his slight level advantage, and maybe just the way he's playing, and of course the support from Svenskeren, which has been a big deal, Freddy's coming out on top this time round.
Viz, he can try to duel, and he'll do okay. The issue is he is just playing so nervously around Sven, like you mentioned before, and Moopz is constantly moving in and out of lane. Like, Moopz has spent very little time actually farming. He'll clear a wave, then just hide himself from the minimap, from the fog of war. And that's a good idea, just because it makes everyone else in the map play a bit more cautiously, especially with the mobility on Lissadra. There's actually a fight going on mid lane. It will just be easily disengaged, as Freddy cannot be caught. You can't wrangle a gator.
Wrestle that gator. Kubaos, ooh, he does land the stun this time. Follow-up taunt comes in from Viscerus, but there's no other follow-up damage. So Freddy just shrugs it off with a quick helmet, walks back under his tower. Moopz comes around the backside, does use his ult up onto Zyra. Not enough to get the kill. Has to eat away using that claw to safety. Slow goes out. Elise, can she land the stun? Not quite. Moopz is still exposed. Gets around the corner and out of vision. Is safe. Now, Super Hot Crew XD have to come close in around this Drake. And yes, skill or luck are way too low health. They've used way too many abilities. And a fully health, freshly bought Super Hot Crew XD jungler is on his way down.
Foton coming too with the Infinity Edge and Zeal. They're going to try and fight this on skill or luck. They kind of have to. They cannot give up any more gold, but this is such a risky fight with how much HP they've already lost. Moopz is the only person to have taken damage.
Yeah, they're hanging around trying to delay it. It does look like they've managed to delay it just about long enough. But of all the people to be basing right now, Magebane's the one with full health and full mana. And could have done more to interrupt the Drake, but it does look like they've admitted defeat and they're going to let it go. However, Super Hot Crew XD do not realize this and are going to leave it alive for now and take a tier 2 mid turret instead.
It looks like Xerath could afford his Rabadon's death cap, and it's worth actually sacrificing that moment if they can get the item onto him for the next team fight. He really
pick up that tier 2 turret. Now they're going down towards the Drake. The Drake is still there. Freddy 122 is on half health. Everyone on skill or luck has been back, shopped, and healed. This is time for Super Hot Crew XD to give up the Drake and leave. No, they changed their mind because they're being pushed up the mid lane. They're going to pincer in from behind here. Spider does reveal them, but Jarvan goes in. He gets a knock up onto Kubaos. Hasn't used his ult yet. Freddy 122 gets snared up alongside Zyra. Repel comes out. It's going to go into the backside onto Foton. Gets nuked down. Look at all that hail used there just to try and save Caitlyn and Moopz. Sona used on one person who died anyway. Great ult. Svenskeren hits 3 people. Freddy 122 tanking them all up. And there's the combo once Moopz gets in there. Their health melts. Zyra will pull down, try and use her passive, but Collide will drop to Caitlyn ultimate, and it is an ace for Super Hot Crew XD.
It is an ace. This will be an easy inhibitor as well, as actually even Sona taking out the inhibitor, waiting for the creep line, getting those auto attacks in with the support of no one else. The problem is that they want aggressively onto Lissadra, and at this point in the game, Lissadra, just because of her level advantage and her raw HP from leveling up, she is a difficult kill. But also factor in that she has her defensive ultimate, and despite not using it defensively, she was able to burst down Kubaos. She was able to help chase down Viz. The tanky front line did not have enough tankiness. The DPS backline, like Xerath, got a lot of damage out, but he's just too far behind. That Magi Soul Stealer, which is, I believe, still at 0 stacks. He had 1 stack for a second there. It's not doing anything. They are 2 behind in gold, and with the items they've purchased, that gold deficit is actually bigger than it seems.
So Foton does rotate down towards the bottom lane and will just in time save this bottom turret from the big wave of mean creeps that was heading its way. And it stays alive for that little bit longer. All this while, of course, Drake is still standing. They haven't fought over that yet. And Skill or Luck are taking the initiative and starting it. Taking it down very, very quickly. Zyra, of course, picked up the last one. She's confident she can take this one again. Svenskeren's there, and he's not even going to try because he does not have the team support. So another dragon goes to the blue team, to Skill or Luck. They get themselves about 1,000 gold, but it is still 10,000 in the favor of Super Hot Crew XD, and we're only at 25 minutes.
10,000 gold is enormously throughout any game, but 25 minutes in, that's pretty massive compared to most advantages you'll normally see. That even most like solo queue snowball games don't get this big. Shen up in the top lane, he's got to get perfect initiation at this point onto a few members, and then follow that up with Magebane getting perfect ultimates in response. Like the AOE combo is there for Skill or Luck. A Graves burst, Magebane's burst, Shen's initiation to lock people down for that. The problem is, every fight has been under the control of Super Hot, and this one it will be a Supp.
Flash Sona on the turret. Zyra gets melted. Freddy122 has the aggro. He's going to drop it, chasing down Elise. Zyra is doing his best to try and tank up Super Hot Crew XD's backline. Moopz will be forced to use his ultimate on him, but it ultimately saves his life, so it's worth it. Xerath's trying to barrage him from range. This is not quite going to manage. Oh, comes out from Caitlyn as well as the knockout from that Jarvan allows Moopz to go godlike under the inhibitor turret. Two members of Skill or Luck, survive, Elise and Graves, but it's not enough to save this inhibitor, and that is the second of the game down. Super Hot Crew XD, are you looking to end it right now? They're going to give it a go. Collide is trying to do what damage he can, but ultimately there's not a whole lot of mud. Jarvan gets another knockup onto Collide. Caitlyn and Zyra, sorry, Caitlyn and... No, I'm not going to sneeze. Caitlyn and Lissadra are very low, but Sona is going to be the exit frag picked up for Skill or Luck.
They pick up Sona, and I think the sad thing about all that is that Magebane did not get an assist, so he's still going to have 0 stacks on the Magi Soul Stealer. I mean, it's reached a point where Migxa can dive underneath the turret aggressively, get the ultimate off, and even though it's a tier 2 turret, even though it's a tier 2 turret at the 27-minute mark, it doesn't mean anything. They're way too far behind in terms of overall tankiness. Like, it's like they don't have the tankiness, they don't have the damage to respond and kill people underneath their own turret. They've just fallen too far behind it, and in every fight, it's been started underneath Super Hot Crew's control. You know, the Flash Sona ultimate, the catch-off from Lissadra, the engage from Jarvan. There hasn't been a good answer to that, and it's because the vision and the outright fear for Skill or Luck has just been dominating them.
8-1 on Moopz. He's going to use those claw forward, trying to chase on the Magebane, uses the ult, gets stunned up in return. This is Deathfire Grass, and there's a dead Magebane. Zonya goes out to dodge the stun. He will undoubtedly fall, but the 500 gold going to Zyra is less than ideal. And however, there is a stack now.
He's got it!
To Magebane. It's not his first of the game, but it's getting him off the ground this time around. So let's see if he can keep this one and expand on it.
It's not the first of this game, it's the second. It's the second Migxa Soul Stealer sack.
Had one earlier on. Give him that one.
For his first out of Migxa Soul Stealer. It's like, maybe this could have worked out. Xerath itself is such a risky pick that, you know what, if you're going to go risky Xerath, go all out, go for the crazy build, but it is such a difficult item to build up against an initiation like Lissadra.
Shen comes in onto Elise. They're going to try and initiate, but Freddy122 was tanking all of them. Sona hits across 3 people. Visaria is still chasing down. He's got plenty of energy to taunt. Lands it on Sona alone. Here comes that Xerath. Does pick up a kill. He's now onto 3 stacks. But the rest of Super Hot Crew XD do back away safely, only having lost one in a 5v4 engage under tower, of which Freddy took half of his health in turret damage before the fight even began. And they still have person.
He's coming back, man. He's gonna carry this game. It's really actually up to him. Like, I'm not saying that in jest. If they want to win, it's gonna be Magebane getting ultimates onto Foton at this point. That's still the only hope. That in random picks, but Super Hot Crew actually being initiated on now.
Yeah, sorry, trying to get a 3-man taunt. Only actually lands 1. It's a little bit of a return damage. He actually comes out worse for it. So, I'll see. Moopz pushing up that mid lane, trying to fight Visaria in 1v1, but Graves comes in to spoil his fight. He had to leave. Tutorial style, then all 3 inhibitors are down. Super Hot Crew XD taking them 1 by 1. Mid lane has actually respawned. I lied. So they're going to go across now there with Moopz and try and take that out as a 5-man. Moopz recalling because he's low. Sona already on the base. There's only 3 of them, so they're going to be a little bit extra careful. And instead, they're going to go back and clear out the jungle instead. That's a bit of a safer option.
Skill or Luck have been holding this off well. Actually, Sven being initiated on now, but should be able to get out of this pretty easily. Flag and Drag is available. The Spiders do chase him down, but yeah, he's A-okay. The problem is that they've been holding this off, but it's been a 3v5 or a 4v5. Like, SUPA crew has been rotating players in and out, going back to base and shopping, and now Foton actually does get out of there, going for the ultimate. The block is solid. Collided with that bullet right there.
Oh,
yeah. That one felt good. But the Soul Stealer on Magebane, it's still not high enough. He still needs to land his combo onto Caitlyn in the backline. Now that she has her flash down, it's a possibility, but does he have enough damage? He doesn't have boots, but he does have the items necessary to deal tremendous damage to an AD carry like Caitlyn. To even possibly burst down Moopz.
Super Hot Crew XD then engaging this Baron. Completely uncontested. There is nothing that skill or luck could do about it with either skill or luck. And, well, still need 3 more stacks on that Migxa before the gold cost becomes worth the return.
Almost
I do not see
efficient.
Xerath getting those very, very soon. In fact, I don't see him getting them at all this game, to be completely honest. Now that Super Hot Crew XD have themselves a Baron, they're going to make their way up this mid lane as a 5 again. Now, there's the top lane inhibitor respawning within the next 15 seconds. They're going to come and try and take this mid one first. We'll see what kind of fight happens as to whether they even need any of them. Magebane pops his W. Locks himself in place and immediately cancels it. But look at the damage Caitlyn does to that Shen. And Shen's the tank. Shen's the one that's not going to take anything. He does get the flash torn onto Caitlyn. As the ult comes down from Magebane from a long way out. Caitlyn will fall to Elise thanks to a good repel. Shen is not quite dead yet. Collide will drop down to Renekton as he was horribly exposed. 3 members of Skill or Luck left standing. But still, 4 members of Super Hot Crew XD up. Even though their AD carry is dead, there is still so much damage on the Super Hot Crew XD that they can just keep pushing their way into this base regardless of who's left up. Home Guard is there. Stun does land onto Migxa. Another taunt goes out. Good damage onto Sona, but is it enough? No, because Zyra's going to fall in the backside when she's all exposed as Super Hot Crew dives straight past both Elise and Shen. Good taunt from Shen. We're getting back towards the fountain. Svenskeren comes back in, doesn't have much health. The Moopz is coming in too. The Ignite is out. Another slow goes down. Will he get to the fountain? No chance. Moopz picks up another kill. Goes 10-2. And now that there's super creeps and champions working away on the Nexus, this may be all she wrote for skill or luck.
He's been close to those 6 stacks, so he just needs to pick up anybody. But no one low enough, and the game will end. Fantastic play from Super Hot Crew XD, taking control of that game so early on in the laning and just never letting up. That Xerath pick, you know,